Welcome back to Spark Talk. Today's video, I will be grading the top trades for the 2023 NBA offseason before the start of free agency. This is my subjective opinion on these moves, so let me know down below what your grades are for these moves, and did I get my grades wrong on my opinion on these moves? So let's get into this. The first trade I will be getting into is the first trade that happened. It is the Phoenix Suns trading away Chris Paul and Landry Shamet to the Washington Wizards for Bradley Beal, Jacob Goodwin, and Isaiah Todd. And included in this trade are a bunch of pick swaps, including 4 first-round picks and 6 second-round picks. I ended up giving the Wizards a B for this trade. They are starting their rebuild and have a clear direction that they want to go in, especially what they were able to do with these trade pieces in a short period of time. But I'll get into that trade later on in this video. The Suns, I ended up giving them a B-. I am still not sold on the tandem of Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, and Kevin Durant. Booker and Beal are not wing guys, and I don't see them as point guards either, even though Devin Booker has played point guard in the past. If they were able to get someone like a Patrick Beverley or someone who can guard any position like a Bruce Brown and then add on another facilitator to their team, I would like this move a little bit more. But at the moment, I don't think this trade moves the needle for them much at all, especially with Denver being the top dogs at the moment. This next trade really hurts me as a Celtics fan. But it's that 3-team trade between the Celtics, Wizards, and Grizzlies. The Wizards end up receiving Tyus Jones, Danilo Gallinari, and Mike Muscala, plus the 35th pick in the 2023 draft. And the Grizzlies grabbed Marcus Smart, and the Celtics ended up getting Kristaps Porzingis and the 25th pick in the 2023 draft, and a 2024 first-round pick, top 4 protected by Golden State. I gave the Wizards a B+ for this trade. I like Tyus Jones a lot as a backup guard and someone who can potentially be a starter for a team. He's a very solid player to start a rebuild with. And for the Grizzlies, I gave them an A. They got someone to fill that Dillon Brooks role and someone who's a little bit more efficient on the offensive end on top of that. Also, Marcus Smart is a leader, and he's someone who has a lot of playoff experience with the Boston Celtics. And the Celtics, I gave them an A- for this trade. They got a great return with Kristaps Porzingis, and they were able to turn that pick into a bunch of second-round picks and Jordan Walsh, who has a lot of defensive upside. Kristaps is that catch-and-shoot guy that they need, and what Horford was during that finals run in 2022. He fills that Al Horford role while also allowing Al Horford to come off the bench and not play as many minutes due to his age. I do think this moves the needle for all teams in the direction that they want to go in. For the Wizards, it gives them some good building block pieces like Tyus Jones to start their rebuild. For the Grizzlies, it gives them a very experienced playoff guy that also fills a role on the team with someone that he was very inefficient last year for them in Dillon Brooks. And then for the Boston Celtics, they get someone that can be that new Al Horford for them, that can be that catch and shoot guy, that can be a very solid defender for them as well. And I like this trade for all 3 teams. This next trade on the list is one that shocked everybody. It is Chris Paul going to Golden State while the Wizards receive Jordan Poole, a 2030 first-round pick that is top 20 protected, and a 2027 second-round pick. I give the Warriors a C for this trade. I don't know how Chris Paul fits with this team at all. He has played on a fast-paced team before with the Lob City Clippers, but now he's 38 years old. And on top of that, he hasn't been there defensively in like 5 years or more. He became a liability to the Phoenix Suns. That's why they traded him away. I do like the idea of him coming off the bench for a change of pace, but who is going to come off with him? They don't have the role players to really fill that second unit up along with Chris Paul. And you can't play Steph Curry and Chris Paul at the same time because it's just asking for a team to go at both of them, especially when they were on separate teams teams would just go at Steph Curry and Chris Paul individually, but now they're on the same team. It just gives you two more options to go at from an offensive standpoint. I think this is a step in the wrong direction for the Golden State Warriors, and I see him being traded around the trade deadline this year. The Wizards, I gave them a B+. I'm not the biggest fan of Jordan Poole, but allowing him to be that number one guy and see how he does, I like the idea of that. Plus, he's a very explosive scorer. However, he's not as efficient as you would like him to be, but allowing him to potentially develop into that number one guy for a team while you build a team around him, I love the idea of that. So I really like this trade for the Wizards, and I like the direction they are going in this offseason. The last trade I'll get into is the trade that just happened a couple of days ago. Is the Atlanta Hawks trading away John Collins to the Utah Jazz, and the Hawks receiving Rudy Gay and a second-round pick. I gave the Jazz a B for this trade. I think it'll be a fun fit with Walker Kessler and Lauri Markkanen plus John Collins in that front court, and potentially he could be a trade piece for the Utah Jazz at the trade deadline if a contending team is willing to give up something for him. And for the Atlanta Hawks, I give them a C, and I probably should have gone lower for this grade, but you finally get his money off the books, and the Hawks can finally now start adding pieces that fit around Trae Young. But the get back for John Collins, for me, was a little bit less than I expected. I thought they could have gotten more, but this is what happens though when you deal with Danny Ainge.